Okay, so today we're going to discuss sort of the weightlifting portion of the challenge, and I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about why that is part of it and why weightlifting in particular is one of the keys to help you stop kind of wasting your time and do things with your exercise and spend your exercise time on things that are a little bit more effective than what the typical person is doing in the gym. Real quick before I start, does anybody feel like they've ever wasted time in the gym before? Anybody ever feel like they have not gotten out of it what they thought they have or what they thought they should get out of it? Maybe you took a 4-week, you did a 4-week program or something. You did a whole lot of sweating. You never really saw a difference. Maybe you noticed you were a little bit fitter, but all in all, you didn't really see your body change or feel like there was a big change. Almost everyone that I talk to expresses they've had some kind of experience with that. So I am going to share my screen. We're going to get right into it. Please give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen. I'm minimized. Can y'all see what I'm looking at? Can y'all see this presentation? Awesome. All right, so we should go to the beginning. That's fun. That's a fun slide. Okay, so today we're going to stop wasting your time in the gym. You know, invest 15 minutes in it and hopefully save, a year of your life. First, we're going to start with a huge problem. This is the problem that most people come to me. Most of the clients that I work with are addressing one of these problems. 90% of people fail at their weight loss goals. People lose a lot of weight. Sometimes they are really successful in the weight loss phase and then they gain it all back. Some people even struggle just to lose weight in the first place. The other thing is most people aren't participating in a strategy that's going to help them be successful. So most of the time, it's not that people aren't putting in effort. Most of the time, it's that the strategy that they're using is sort of doomed to fail. Like they're not kind of taking into account some of the foundational principles that they need to be. So people are failing at their goals, and it's not because they don't have the motivation or the effort, because they don't have the right strategy. They're missing an important piece of the puzzle, and it's making all the effort that they're putting in. I hate to use the word worthless because it's a very strong word, but it's at the end of the day, it's not working. So that's really, really unfortunate. But the good news is that can be fixed. If you're not doing the work or if you don't have energy or effort to put in, that's a problem that's really, really hard to solve. But if you have effort and if you've tried a lot of things and they're not working, if it's a strategy issue, strategy issues are fixable. So again, for people that are just coming in, this is the problem that I'm spending, most of my time in my life trying to help people fix, is that they aren't hitting their weight loss goals, or they're not able to stick with them, or they'll lose weight and then they'll gain it back. And people are missing huge pieces of the strategy to help them be successful. So today I'm going to share the strategy that's going to help you be more successful. We're going to start with we're talking about like the science of what is your body. What makes when you walk into a room, as you move through the world, what are you? What is your physical body? If you want to change this body, if we want to make this body healthier, it's helpful to just kind of talk very high level about the science of what our body is. And we're going to talk about body composition. What are the things that make up your body? The beautiful thing about body composition, there's only two parts. Your body in this, when we talk about like health and weight loss and fitness, and we can break your body down into two parts. You have body fat, which is your fat mass, and then you have lean mass, which is everything else. Lean mass includes muscles, bone, tendons, ligaments, organ, hair, nails, and actually all the body water. So anything in your body that has a function is lean mass. So your brain, your eyes, your eyelashes, and like all that is lean mass. A helpful way to think about this is literally like how we figure out someone's body fat percentage. Is you pretty much your body, you've got like all the water parts, all the functional parts, and then you've got fat, and you can measure it with like, has anybody heard of like a BIA or like one of those electric scales that shows your body fat percentage? Anybody seen those? There's scales that you can step on, and it'll tell you, okay, you weigh 200 pounds and 52 pounds of that is fat. And the way they could do that is they could literally just send electrical pulses through your body, and then they can figure out where it's hitting oil and where it's hitting water, and then just divide that by your body mass, and then you have your rough body fat percentage. So we've got oil and water. Your body's very similar. So why does this matter? Why am I showing you a glass of oil and water? Well, there's tons of talk and discussion programs, energy. There's just tons of programs that deal with losing body fat. So almost every health program that makes it big, obviously, whether it's something like Weight Watchers or keto or, almost all those things are geared toward losing body fat. People often talk about weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. What we're really talking about there is body fat loss. So we're talking a lot about that oil part of our body. And there's not much effort that goes to increasing or talking about the health of the lean mass. So we're not talking about all the functional parts of our body. And so I'm going to say for everyone on this call, whether you want to lose 50 pounds, or whether you want to put on a little bit of muscle, or you just want to be healthier, you want to move better in the world, you want to have more energy, I'm just going to tell you this. At the end of the day, your goal, whether you realize it or not, and hopefully you will start to realize this, your goal is that you want less body fat with more lean mass. If you develop less body fat and more lean mass, you're going to be more functional, you're going to be stronger, you're going to have less instance of disease, you'll be on less medications. So, and a lot of people walk around and they know, they're like, I don't feel that overweight, but I know I'm not as healthy as I am. Those are people that really probably haven't given enough energy to their lean mass. And again, remember, I'll just go back to this. Look how important all these things are. This is everything functional in your body, from your organs to your muscles to the structure of your bones, tendons, and ligaments. So I'm going to say it again. Your goal should be more lean mass and less fat mass. Whether you know it or not, whether you've done that or not, whether you've phrased it in those terms, that's pretty much what all of our goal is. Here's just an asterisk on that. Every client that I talk to knows when they have too much body fat. People know when they're like, man, I've got more body fat than I should for my health, or like I'm a little bit overweight. People can identify when they have more body fat than they want, but very few people actually identify when they don't have enough lean mass. And so there are tons of young people like that are my age, or that don't have any of the risk factors. Like they're not overweight, they're not pre-diabetic, but they're not as healthy as they could be because they've got so little lean mass. They're still at risk of developing more of that body fat. Just a side note, the more lean mass you have, the easier it is to get rid of body fat. The more lean mass you have, the less likely your body is to just start packing on fat mass. So again, almost everybody knows that when they don't have enough body fat. If you're on this call or if you're watching this recording, you're like, yeah, I have a weight loss goal. I'm going to encourage you and challenge you that you also should be thinking about your body as not having enough functional strength and functional tissue. So how do we achieve less body fat, more lean mass? Well, especially on the more lean mass side, first thing that we do is lifting weights trains muscles and bones to be very strong. So lifting weights, as opposed to just some kind of exercise, I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but lifting weights is your best friend here. The second part of that is eating protein, repairs and builds functional tissue. So you're kind of starting to see how those two behaviors have made it in the challenge together. So lifting weights trains muscles and bones to be very strong, and then eating protein allows you to continue lifting weights to build and repair that functional tissue. So those behaviors sort of go together. Today, we're going to be talking about lifting weights and training your muscles and bones. So I'm going to give you 3 rules for weightlifting. And by the way, just as a reminder, everybody should have been emailed this. If you haven't been emailed me, shoot a quick message in the chat. This is a kind of like a beginners or a Kickstarter workout program. This 3-day workout program will follow all the rules that I'm going to share with you, but I still want to share in general some rules that you could be thinking about for your next 10, 20 years of health. So if you get a little bit lost in some of the specifics, just follow this program and you'll be off to a good start. So here are 3 rules for lifting weights effectively. And if you lift weights effectively, you're going to spend less time in the gym. You're going to get more out of it. The first thing I want you to do is keep it simple. It's really, really common, especially in the era of social media. Working out is getting more and more complicated, and it's not getting better due to that complexity. It's really easy for somebody with a big social media following to show like a new way to work out. And I'll just tell you, like the old in this really is the better. So in general, the simpler your movements are, it's going to be preferable. It's also going to be easier to stick to. If it's simple, it's also going to be easier to do. If you travel to California, you can do the same simple movements that you're doing in Tennessee, the same movements you would do in New York City. So the first thing I want you to do is keep it simple, and I'll show you how to keep it simple. The next thing I want you to do is make it specific. So the movements you're doing in the gym should mimic what you're doing in the world. The third is I want you to keep it intense with an appropriate intensity. I'll show you how to do that as well. So first, we're going to keep our exercise simple. You should be doing basic movements. You do not need a ton of equipment to do good, simple, effective exercise. You do need weight. So sometimes people tell me, hey, I'm working out at home. I've got 2, 3-pound dumbbells. You really need more weight than that. But you don't need $10,000 equipment. You don't have to go to one specific place. You should be able to do this at any gym in America. And you should be able to equip your home gym with all this stuff that you need. But minimal equipment, again, things like dumbbells, sandbags, barbells, kettlebells, they may be intimidating if you're sort of new or if you haven't done that in a long time. This is not going to turn you into Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not going to accidentally develop way too much muscle and be really uncomfortable in your body. I can just promise you that. But you don't need a bunch of equipment. Those pieces of equipment are really going to be kind of all you need, and it should be helpful to just simplify to those things. Also, weight machines are okay for if you know what you're doing or if you're just beginning. Weight machines, so just the basic movements like presses, pulling, squatting, pushing, all those kinds of things can be done really, really well on a machine. But keep it simple. The simpler, the better. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to make your exercise specific. So movements in the gym should mimic movements you want to improve in real life. So if you, in real life, want to get better at carrying in the groceries, squatting down in the garden, picking up bags of leaves, the things you're doing in the gym should mimic that. If you go to the gym, I use stock photos because I didn't want to pick on anyone in particular. If you go to the gym and you're using these really like complex pieces of equipment that are kind of random, and these are examples of exercises that are not specific and that are not simple. Think of a couple of things you want to do. Like if you're picking up grandkids that are maybe running at your knees, or you're picking up kids that are trying to climb up in the pantry or something, your movements in the gym should look kind of like that. So think about getting in and out of the car. You want to have strong knees. You want to be able to lunge well. So keep it simple, make it specific. The other thing I want you to do is keep it intense. I'm going to make a quick note about injury on this next slide. So bear with me that my job is not to get you injured here, but it's to allow you to be effective. One thing that happens is people will learn, they'll say, okay, I do believe stewarding my lean mass is really important. I do want to lift weights, so I'm going to get started. I get started, and the biggest mistake that I'll see from people that actually do that is they're not going intense enough. So in other words, they're just walking up and they're picking up a dumbbell that's 6 pounds and they're doing this 20 times, and then they say, okay, I did strength training. But really what I want you to do, I should say AIM, it's not AI, but if you have not been weightlifting, what I want you to do is just get started and just follow this exercise program. But as you improve, or if you've done some weightlifting in a little bit, I really want you to aim for, this is called the Rpe Scale. And it's just a scale of 1 to 10 for how hard are you working. 1 is you're laying in bed, you're not doing anything. And then 10 is like you go to failure, basically, like you can't lift anymore. You're really going to get benefits if you're working out in the 7-8 range, 7-8, sometimes maybe 9 as you get really, really fit. So what this means is, this is probably the most important takeaway. Assuming you're in the 14-day challenge, you're actually working out, here's the most important thing you need to know. When I say do a goblet squat for 8 reps, My goal is that you are doing a goblet squat at 8 reps at a weight where 8 reps is pretty close to the max that you can do. So maybe you could goblet squat 10 reps, but I don't want you to goblet squat for 8 reps at a weight that you actually could do 15 reps. Does that make sense? If you can goblet squat and you say, well, I just did 8 reps, but I think I could do 8 more, that's fine. I'd encourage you to probably just do 8 more, because I want you to be working pretty close to where you're like, man, I'm really giving it almost all that I got in this workout. So appropriate intensity is, if you're just getting started, just get started. That's an appropriate intensity. If you haven't been doing anything, just doing something is an appropriate intensity. But as you get better and as you get more comfortable, I saw a great meme. It said, of course it's heavy. That's why they call it weight. I really want you to get comfortable pushing yourself and being uncomfortable. So 7, 8, maybe the 9 range is a pretty good range where you should be working. If you're not working up in that range, you're just not going to be getting that much stronger. And unfortunately, it'll be counterintuitive. You'll be wasting your time. Now, what about injury? The good news is, if you are keeping it simple and if you are doing specific movements, strength training is actually one of the safest ways to be working out. So if you're keeping it simple and if you're keeping it specific and you ease into it and you're stretched and you warm up, there's actually good evidence that this is pretty darn low risk. It's some of the lowest risk exercise you can be doing. The kinds of exercise that really, really get people injured, and this is where this, I've clicked over this slide, you maybe have seen this, is like any kind of running or very highly repetitive, high impact, just go, 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 like very intense cardio where you're doing all out sprints, doing burpees and then lunging and like side to side, you're just going fast, doing lots of repetitions. Those are the kinds of workouts where you're actually most likely to be injured. If you are doing simple movements at an appropriate intensity that are specific to what you're doing in your regular everyday life, you will most likely be doing some of the safer exercises you've been doing. So and then one other thing that I wanted to say about this slide is, I don't know if not everybody was necessarily around for this, but I guess in the it was really the 70s where jogging became like the thing, and it was just like, jogging is it. If you want to be your most fit ever, just jog. Just jog as much as you can. And then what happened is everybody got really hurt, and they also didn't really get stronger or fitter. They got better at jogging, but you don't get stronger. Like if you want strong arms, you're not going to get stronger by jogging. If you want to increase your muscle mass so that you decrease your risk for type 2 diabetes, you're not going to get that by jogging. So this is a good example, you know, things like just jogging for endless miles and then doing, you know, ab machine crunches and stuff. Those are good examples of ways that you can spend a lot of time and a lot of effort and not get that much out of it. So the good news is, if you have not started strength training, you've not been strength training, when you first start is a really good time to get really good quick results. So that's kind of fun. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just starting this and behind the game, you'll actually get a lot stronger very quickly. So good place to start is this program. Make sure you have that. I don't think anybody's chatted me they don't have that yet, so that's good. The final note that I will make is, if you don't take care of your lean mass, so if you don't train your muscles and eat some protein to support those muscles, you're going to have a really hard time maintaining any weight loss goals that you have. Because if you lose, this could be its own PhD topic, but the basic principle is, if you're losing lean mass while you're losing fat mass, you're going to regain all of it to replenish that lean mass. So if you don't take care of your lean mass, your metabolism will slow down a lot, and you're going to be more likely to put weight on very, very quickly after you finish that diet. So if you don't take care of your lean mass, you're going to have a hard time maintaining weight loss. You're going to have a higher risk for injury and illness. You're going to have a higher risk for metabolic disease like diabetes, because blood sugar lives in your muscle. If you have a very, very small muscle volume, your blood sugar is going to go through the roof, and you're going to have a lower health span. So actually, the number one variable that correlates to a long and healthy life is lean mass to body size ratio. So does everybody understand that? So the number one variable that correlates to a healthy life is higher lean mass at lower body fat. Does that make sense? Which is why I told you at the beginning of this call, your goal, whether you know it or not, is to have less fat and more lean mass. I'm not telling you to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm telling you that if you steward your lean mass and become stronger and lose a little bit of fat mass, you'll be much, much healthier. All right. I think there was one other note that I was going to make. Oh, this is my actually big goal is that, you know, I'll be going to PA school in the fall. My wife and I do not have kids yet, but my life is going to get a lot busier if or when that happens. So if you are younger and you don't have weight loss goals, I would strongly encourage you to have significant goals to increase your lean mass, because it's only going to get harder as you age to build lean mass. And if you think of lean mass as like a savings account, the more you have now, the easier your next couple of decades are going to be. This is a great time for me to build lean mass. It's been my goal for the last year, is to build lean mass, get stronger, build a little bit more muscle, build a little bit more function. Because if you get, like, as people age, you know, it's very common that someone will fall and break a hip, and then that's really the thing that kind of tailors them down. As lean mass becomes more fragile, all kinds of diseases and instances can come up. So if you're younger and you don't have a huge weight loss goal, I would strongly encourage you to have a positive lean mass goal. So that's all I've got. I'll leave you with this slide, is that your goal should be less fat and more lean mass. If anybody's got questions, I've got a couple more minutes that I'll stick around to answer them. But I think that's the exercise portion of this training. So I hope it's helpful. Go out and stop wasting your time. Live simple, make it specific, and make it intense. And enjoy your week and your Memorial Day holiday.
Thanks, Andrew.
Absolutely. I think that's Steimer. Sure.